Warning. Two idiots are reading the SCP files over the intercom. Please return to your station and await further instructions. Hello and welcome. Hi and welcome back to Discovering SCP.
I'm sorry, Shallow. Who was the turtle fucker from Aetheral Space again?
Excuse me?
You said there was like a guy obsessed with turtles, but it was like Is that you?
No. Why would it be me? I don't understand.
Because you said Shallow.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. It's in the recording.
Why would that even? Was I shut? Oh my god, this is a disastrous bit. The stock is down, Darnell. Our shares are plummeting.
What do you mean the stock is down? I'm seeing the funny line on not Audacity, Ocean Audio.
We are back on Discovering SCP. Hello, we are back. We are here. Woo!
You might have thought this was Aetheral Space based on what I talked about at the beginning. But if you didn't get that joke, I guess you just have to watch all 8 arcs. Then you can understand.
Non-linear bits.
Anyways, we're not here alone this week, are we?
We're barely ever here alone, but still, yes.
Are we ever truly alone? Think about that,
The
guys.
Lord's with us. But not today. Today yes, we've got someone else.
We have... Did you say the Lord's with us?
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to my homie Big Jeezy. But yes, welcome to the podcast. Drum roll, please.
Did you hear that?
Shallow is a water-type Pokemon introduced in Generation 4. It evolves into Gastrodon at level 30.
That Pokemon trivia, it can only be one person.
I thought that was Shellos.
I was saying it how the French do.
Oh, Shallow.
Correctly.
He actually can't say things how the French do. Tan Honey, can you say hamburger how the French do?
Hamburger.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's like you're in Paris. And let's put on the French, like, stereotypical Paris music. As long as it's royalty-free. Otherwise, don't bother.
Just rip some music from...
Well, who is it we have here?
Anything in Pokemon.
Who is this person? Darnell. Elaborate.
Yes. Agisuru, so you were the star of WriterBot, I think it was 2021. Yes, in my eyes anyway. You posted, it was like about these like not seals, but like these anomalous like aquatic thingies, and they like, this dude got really into them, and then he like joined them, and some shit happened. It's been a year, my memory's vague, but the fact that I remember that much after a year proves how memorable it is, because if you knew me, you know like I can barely remember what we read last week, if at all.
It was a poor man's Shadow over Innsmouth, really.
Okay, well really it was a rich man's WriterBot entry, because it was great. And you were around on the server, and you said you'd come on, which we appreciate. So we are going to read... somewhere between 1 to some of your articles, depending on what Tanhoney picked out.
Yeah, so today we have 1, 2 articles.
Yes, and the point of this, readers, is you may be asking yourselves, who's Agisuru? And the correct answer is the next big thing on SCP. Go follow them on Twitter, go interact with them on Discord. Exactly. Because this guy deserves way more attention than he's getting right now, so that's why we're reading his stuff. Anyway...
I will say it's, for the record, just, a bit of pedantry. It's Agisuru. Get it right.
Alright, actually, we're going to be having another author on this week.
Bring out Cactus.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry. I've bamboozled you. I've replaced the person who's supposed to be here.
In my defense, we were just talking about Pokemon, so I think I was thinking of Pachirisu, and I got it mixed up in my head.
Also, it is like 3 gibberish names that I've used in the past mashed together because just Agi was taken on both Twitter and Wikidot. So,
damn, no fire.
That's why it sounds like nonsense. It's because it is.
So is it Agisuru or is it Agisuru?
Let's hope your SCP articles aren't nonsense. Let's hope the words come together to form sentences.
Yeah, why don't you post?
I think it's Agi.
Agisuru. Ooh, I liked it better when it was Agi, but I'll call you Agisuru since that's the name.
But here we are, the first.
I also just go by Agi.
I'll call you Agi since that's what you said you go by.
Yeah, it's just easier. It's just less of a mouthful.
So, we have our first article for today, SCP-6919 by Agisuru, The Insistence of Memory.
I'm excited. Ooh,
I will say the title for this is from Dr. Fulham. He's one of he's also a writer on the forum. He's active in the IRC a lot more. It was a really good title, so I was like, wow, that is way smarter than anything I could actually come up with. Hey, I'm using that.
Don't mind me asking, what was the original title?
I don't think I had one. The Insistence of Memory is a play on Salvador Dali painting, The Persistence of Memory. It's the one with the melting clocks.
Nice.
There
Can't
we
wait to see the melting clocks.
Is your SCP... Are you an SCP author if your article title isn't a pun? Tell me that.
Everything I write is a pun in some way. I am incapable of not making pun titles.
I did for a long time today. I entertained the idea of writing an SCP about like cockroach creatures that worship the broken god, solely so I could call it clockroaches.
Okay, that's really good though.
I do that too sometimes as a writer. Is I come up with the pun first and then the meat later.
You could also just call it a clockwork roach.
Yeah. All right.
But we are here.
But that's enough of that. We should.
Enough of this boring
you
lore.
should start reading. Start reading, reader boy.
Okay, I will. Item number: SCP-6919, Level 4 Secret, Containment Class Safe, Instruction Class Dayark, Risk Class Courtian. Containment Procedures: as the SCP is no longer cleared for use by Foundation personnel, containment efforts are to focus instead on an identification of anyone suffering symptoms of prolonged SCP exposure. Such individuals are to be surveilled, but containment of affected individuals is deemed unnecessary in all but the most severe cases. Any individuals claiming to know or be Dr. Alfred Delapore are to be sent for immediate psychological evaluation.
Alright, so first, I want to say, the way you pronounced caution this episode, I thought you were making an aetherial space joke. But second...
Oh, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be cation. This is an atomic
happens
SCP.
all the time. No worries. That one's for all the chemistry people out there. Tanhoney won't get
chemistry
that.
fans.
That's a science joke, people. You wouldn't get it if you're not smart.
Well,
Everyone who got it, you're smart.
For all you chemistry stands out there.
But the containment procedures are pretty short, but I'm going to guess that, and I know this is a wide net to cast, but that it's something memetic. And you mentioned the insistence of memory, so I'm going to assume it has to deal with this Dr. Alfred was a person or existed in some form, but now are gone, and all that's left is the memory, and the memory itself is anomalous because they were like existence wiped or something. That is what I'm locking in.
Okay.
Is my answer for today.
Well, let's find out
Let's
if
go.
he's right. And if he's wrong, get the shot.
Then he gets executed.
Electric chair.
I'm glad we all just jumped to execution.
Let's find out if he's wrong. I'm looking forward to it.
That's the price for sin at Tanhoney Tower.
The
stakes are high and completely average for an episode of Discovering SCP.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't often get the same guests on twice, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
After this you're going to take me out back and I'm going to have to change my name to Old Yellow.
Where do you think the brickwork comes from? SCP-6919
God.
is the former Class D amnestic, designated AMN 980. Although individuals it's not looking very memetic, Dan, are you worried? Oh,
What?
Doesn't seem to be very memetic so far, are you worried?
Am I? Because it already said it's an amnestic, so maybe you should keep reading Forehead.
That's not memetic.
I will say, quick joke here that I played on everyone who decided to crit this piece. Every single time someone would crit it, I would immediately change the number for the amnestic, just to see if anyone would notice, just to like very slightly fuck with them.
Perhaps they're mentally insane.
Yeah, perhaps you just don't remember what you read correctly, and therefore your criticisms are invalid.
Although individuals exposed to the SCP have exhibited a wide and often conflicting array of responses, commonalities among all sufferers include affinity for aquatic activities such as swimming and surfing, sporadic appearances of coloured lights on the edges of their vision, resistance to amnestisation processes and associated implantation of false memories, mammalian diving reflex, which we have a footnote for here, which is a series of...
You skipped like a whole line.
Sorry, that's my mistake there. Sorry. Resistance to hypnotism, loss of sense of self, spontaneous and often inappropriate activation of the mammalian diving reflex, which means a series of physiological changes typically associated with aquatic or semi-aquatic mammals characterized by slowing of heart rate and restriction of blood flow for oxygen for critical areas of the body, typically triggered in response to submersion in water, and renewed faith in divine powers.
That dude just like speedran a sentence.
A rap god. Individuals suffering.
Definitely not.
He's trying to become.
Tanhoney wrote a rap.
No, I didn't.
He's trying to become one of those auctioneers that they make memes of on TikTok.
Hey, you better swing.
Individuals.
That's what auctioneers say, right? The auction house.
when you lose, yeah.
Auctioneers, known baseball players.
Individuals suffering from thalassophobia, fear of deep water, have been known to overcome the condition after repeatedly dosed with SCP-6919.
So you just have to keep taking it? That's the cure? That sounds like an addiction to me.
In the most severe cases, individuals have been discovered to possess knowledge of Foundation sites and contain anomalies in areas they've never visited, occasionally far exceeding the level of security to which they have access. In light of incidents 5389B-alpha and B-beta, see them 2 for details, it's theorized that massive doses of 6919 may either cause temporary physiological changes to the individual or alter the perception of the individual by those around them. At present, this remains purely speculative. Testing of this trait has been denied due to the potential for test subjects acquiring sensitive information from this SCP's aforementioned anomalous properties.
I'm curious, Augie, is this guy, the Dr. Delapore, was he from the other one we read on Writerbot?
No, 5389 is the number of the SCP, is the number of what the entry for that Writerbot. It's that one. I forgot how to talk for a second.
So he was related to that, or is it just a reference to your article?
Delapore is... So all of the names from 5389 are from Shadow over Innsmouth. That's why I called it a poor man's Shadow over Innsmouth. But Delapore is a name from Lovecraft's The Rats in the Walls. So no, he's not directly from 5389, but there's a little... The waters are muddy, we'll say.
Oh.
Okay.
The anomalous qualities of the SCP were only brought to the attention of the Foundation in the wake of the suicide of Dr. Delapore.
That's another water joke.
Having been the Foundation employee for decades, Delapore had been dosed with AMN 980 many times over the years due to anomalies.
Oh, the wake! Like the wake of an... I got it. Took me a second. I was like, what does suicide have to do with water?
I thought it was like a joke, pour water. I was like, that's pretty good.
The wake of that joke is also where the revelation came.
At present, only 91 individuals have been identified in advanced stages of the SCP exposure. Majority of them Foundation personnel or D-class individuals.
I love how they say only 91 in the Foundation, as if that's not a significant amount of people for a small, secret society.
The small local business, the Foundation.
But for a site, see, that's kind of the paradox of the Foundation. It's supposed to be this hyper-secret, literally no one knows, but they're like a worldwide... Yeah, so it's like...
With how often
it's hard to tell.
With how often they administer amnestics in the nearly 7,000 articles that have been written, I think only 91 is a pretty fair, that's a small number for them. They've used thousands, millions of amnestics.
It feels like the Foundation in Series 1 and 2 was drastically smaller than the Foundation there.
SCP-2000
I feel like Yeah, I think it is, because that's what made them sort of like a global superpower of sorts unintentionally. And
to be fair, it's also kind of just a side effect of the site growing, because as more and more writers come in, it becomes, it's no longer this niche thing on the internet. It is something basically anyone who spends a significant amount of time on the internet knows about. So it kind of loses this feeling of mystique that it may have once held, which isn't a bad thing. I love the site. Obviously, we all do, because
I almost wonder if it'll grow to a point where, the canon, maybe not broken masquerade, but it has to acknowledge that, okay, there are people outside the Foundation that slip through the cracks and weren't amnesticized, that know about shit, that aren't also in another GOI. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, isn't that kind of Parawatch?
Yeah. I thought Parawatch was just a bunch of conspiracy theories that happen to guess things right.
They don't
I don't
know about the Foundation, is my understanding, but they're a little onto the trail, but not enough for them to really care.
Very interesting. God, I love the world building. All right, sorry, we had an article to read?
Addendum 1, Personal Journey of Dr. Delapore. Why don't you take over from here, Darnell? Or shall I say, Mr. Delapore?
Mr. Darnellapore.
No.
Mr.
I want you to know, I do have a post-it note literally on my desk that says Darnellapore. I was prepared for this one.
You wrote it in a trance late that week. You pick up my God, this was what was in my vision.
Literally, it was at 2 a.m. last night. I was like, oh shit, that would be a great pun.
Darnell, please.
Right. September 19th, 2019. I don't know when I started writing my thoughts down in the journal. It feels habitual, like part of my daily routine, but I haven't been able to find any previous entries anywhere on my computer. I am Dr. Alfred Delaporte. That is what my ID card states, and considering that it is my photograph on the ID card, I frankly cannot find any reason to doubt that I am indeed Dr. Alfred Delaporte. Today I performed a routine test of an anomaly contained on this site. I do not remember which one I am working with. I know where the containment is located, and I know that knowledge of the object activates its primary anomalous effect. I know that protocol for my assigned anomaly requires me to take Class H anterograde. Anterograde? Is it not? I keep wanting to think it's retrograde, right?
Anterograde is what prevents you from remembering things immediately after you take it, which is, for the record, a real type of medicine that actually exists.
Okay, just checking, because I thought you were like trying to do something with retrograde, and it was like stalling me.
No. Retrograde is the normal type of amnestic where you forget what happened just before you took it.
Right.
Yeah.
Class H anterograde amnestics prior to testing, so that we cannot recall the anomaly, and thus cannot activate its anomalous properties. Why, then, does it feel like I've forgotten something? I'm aware that working for the Foundation involves routine amnesticization. Again, how do they get anything done? I am baffled at the corporatism of the Foundation. But this... Oh my god, I just realized with routine amnesticization, could you just, like, have a whole workforce that never gets paid because they forgot they haven't been paid, or, like, forgot they didn't get a paycheck?
Welcome to the Foundation. Your paycheck's next week.
I mean, look, when you're working for a secret society, you can't have money coming in from a random source. That would just look suspicious.
Hot take: the Foundation is the O5 Council's money laundering operation.
We should have a new GOI in the Foundation that's like a union of doctors and D-class that like form a union for better conditions. And I would love an article like that where like the O5 try to classify it as an anomaly, so like an MTF squad will wipe them out, and they're like, no, this is just a union.
It's just a labor union, except the people are ambiguously prisoners and also are constantly being fed to a giant reptile.
Yeah. Why again are we doing that?
Oh, you know, it's to keep them from unionizing.
Of course. But this sense of deja vu doesn't typically accompany that process. I don't think it does, at least. Amnestics typically bestow blissful ignorance. You can't feel you've forgotten something if you don't know it existed to begin with. I will write to remind myself of who I am and what I do. I am Dr. Alfred Delaporte. This is my office, this is my journal, this is my job. Alright. And then, 4 days later, September 23rd, 2019, I am Dr. Alfred Delaporte. I write this journal on a computer registered to my name. To log into this computer, I use a password that only I know. Wait, wasn't the last one written?
No, it's he mentioned that. He mentioned, I mean, he wrote writing, but like, if I write something on a computer,
I just assumed it was with a pencil.
He did say,
this guy's not living
anywhere on his computer.
Sorry, I'm not a modern writer. I'm not like the rest of the writers.
I even
use
knew that
pens,
SCP
pencil,
idea.
and
Let me
paper.
get out my typewriter.
Why I use the password I do is personal.
I wouldn't be overly like surprised if someone literally scanned a typewritten document and submitted it as an SCP document. I'm sure you could justify it in universe.
Sure. Why I use the password I do is personal, sentimental, and well, maybe there's an SCP that like when you try to put about it, use it on technology, it like infects the technology when you talk about it, so you have to write it physically, and then someone would have an excuse to
if
scan
it's an
like
image
their
file.
handwritten SCP.
If it's an image file, it can't have the font, like the text messed with. Like the SCP has some way of modifying the actual database, but if it's an image file, it's just an image file.
We need more anomaly. We need like a thaumiel that's just like an anomalous Excel sheet that keeps track of all the bullshit in the Foundation.
I was going to say a thaumiel that is literally just a bot that automatically corrects anomalous errors in the database.
Yeah, it's just like a fucking SQL server.
It's literally just their plagiarism bot, or not what's it called? When you
the plagiarism bot.
Not plagiarism, the thing where you vandalism.
Hockey Bros. There you go. Why I use the password I do is personal, sentimental, and regards personal history of which my coworkers are unaware. It is scpadmin.02. Therefore, this must
the The coolest doctor ever. 69.
Hell yes. Therefore, this must be my computer, this must be my office, and this must be my journal. I work with a cognito-hazardous... Oh, no.
This is just his YouTuber intro.
Sorry,
we forgot to
infected.
include the spinning text over dubstep that says Dr. Alfred Delapore.
This episode will be incomprehensible for anyone watching it a year from now. I work with a cognito-hazardous anomaly. Before testing, I take a dose of Class H... Is this a fucking... This is like a Kirayoshi Kage bit. Before testing, I take a dose of Class H anterograde amnestic, so I cannot activate the anomaly's effects after testing is complete. Anterograde amnestics only prevent the formation of new memories, and thus they do not have the ability to affect my sense of self. I did not work with my assigned anomaly today. I did not work with my assigned anomaly yesterday. I did not work with my assigned anomaly the day before. I know this because the testing logs do not show any tests performed after September 19th, which is the last time I recall taking the anterograde amnestic. I do not know why I cannot recall anything that happened today prior to sitting down to write this journal. I will leave this journal for my future reference in case these memory issues persist. I will ask my coworkers about my previous activities. Foundation sites are rather securely monitored. Someone will know what I did today. Someone will know what I've forgotten. Alright. Then we have another one the day after. September 24th, 2019. I am Dr. A. Delapore. Oh no, he's shortening it. This is my computer. It sits inside the office I've occupied for nearly a decade atop a desk filled with my belongings. The password to this computer is known only to me, so he thinks. It is a phrase spoken to me by my infant son many years ago. An anecdote I've never spoken of to anyone. So your infant son knows your password. Yeah, not too secure, idiot. No others who could log into this computer.
Check out my TF2 hacks, Daddy.
TF2 hacks. That would be a great password.
It must be mine, and I must be A. Delapore. No one has ever hacked something while not knowing the specifics of someone's life.
But you're not the Delapore. Get away from the console
Stabs him in
before
the
I
throat.
shoot.
Oh my god.
My infant son has a gun.
Nobody knows what I did yesterday. Oh my god, what did you do? According to both my coworkers and Foundation records, I am supposed to be on a leave of absence that began on Saturday, September 21st, and will end on Monday, September 30th. I do not understand why I would have filed for a leave of absence in the middle of testing an anomaly. We had only just begun our tests. It would not make sense for the researcher in charge of these tests to depart at this time. I will inquire into this oddity tomorrow. I will visit the chambers where the anomaly is tested. I know I have left detailed records there of everything I need to know prior to or following interaction with the anomaly. Perhaps this will lend some insight into my inability to recall the past few days. I had to read Aetheral Space, so I'm already tired, so I have to popcorn it again.
I can read.
Sure.
September 29th, 2019. I am Dr. Albert Delapore. This is my computer, which requires my credentials to log in.
Oh no, there's Alfred, not Albert.
Shit, I made a typo.
Already. Oh wait, is that for real? I thought that was intentional.
No, it's intentional.
Oh, another typo from Agi. Maybe you need some more training before you're ready for the
Hey,
SCP.
Tan, remember when I said this was going to be amnestic and you were like, it's
not
not
what you said.
a memetic.
That's not what you
No, sorry.
said. You said
No,
Do you
that's
remember?
true.
Sorry. Time out.
No, the
Remember when I said it was
gaslighting
going to be memetic? I said, do you remember when I said it was going to be memetic and you were like, oh, it's not memetic, it's amnestic.
It's a different
No,
thing.
Darnell was right. He said it was going to be amnestic. Canhoney was the one who was saying it was
no,
amnestic.
no, they're gaslighting me.
I can return from death.
Oh, that's what the original title of this was going to be. It was going to be called Gaslights.
That's pretty good.
And that's why he mentioned colored spots appearing in his vision in the description.
That is a much... well, no, I won't say it's a much better title. I like the current one, too.
Yeah, I like the
tough one to
current
pick.
one better. I'm Dr. Albert Delapore. Requires my credentials.
Anomalous, put the Kira Yoshikage monologue music over all these journal entries, by the way.
So, I am Dr. Delapore, and I live in this fine Dewang.
What the hell are you
password to this
talking about?
The password to this computer is a phrase spoken to me by my late son. I have never...
No! He's dead now! What?
Well, he did say only he knows the password.
Maybe Maybe he means his son just is like late for school. He's got toast in his mouth. He's running.
His late son, who was supposed to appear, 5 minutes ago. There must be something wrong with this iteration of the time loop.
No.
You fool. He's already activated Bites the Dust.
No.
I can't believe it.
I have never discussed much about him with my coworkers, and they have been kind enough not to probe about his passing or other details about him. It stands to
Maybe
reason
he meant
that
passing by the site. He was very close. Bye.
It stands to reason, then, that only I would know the password to this computer, that these memories are my own, and that I am indeed Dr. Albert Delapore.
Was his son Albert?
I ended my previous journal entry stating that I would visit the testing area of the anomaly to which I am assigned. Though I recall writing a journal entry about that visit, there are no files on my computer that have been edited since I wrote my journal entry on the 24th of September. This is odd, but less worrying than the inconsistencies within my previous journal entries. I stated I was administered a Class H amnestic before testing the anomaly to which I am assigned. This is wholly untrue. The properties of the anomaly affect early memories. Thus, Class D amnestics are used after interacting with the anomaly in order to counteract its effects. Inability to remember the identity of the anomaly in question is a result of the destruction of memories that the anomaly had altered. I don't know why my journal entries are wrong. This has always been the procedure for the tests I performed. Has someone tampered with my journal? It wouldn't exactly make sense, since the last time the document was edited was the night of September 24th. At the time, I recall sitting down to write it. Why, then, are there inconsistencies?
Someone could set the date time to
Perhaps he's
September
simply
24th and then
mentally
edit it. Someone could set the computer time to September 24th, then edit it, then turn it back. If he's just using a text file, he'd be able to. A lot of other apps wouldn't work if your date time isn't synced right, but
I
in
assume
theory.
I assume Foundation computers are all synced to the same network where you wouldn't it updates the time automatically and you wouldn't be able to.
Do they have their own OS then? Do they not use Windows? Do they use Foundation OS?
No, you
They all
can
use,
just
some
do that in
variation
Windows.
of Linux.
When I was in high school, we had.
Yeah, but if you have
computers.
admin creds and if he's a site leader, he would be able to change it.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it just depends on quite where his credentials are.
Although now I kind of wonder about a Foundation OS. That sounds kind of dope.
I mean, they do probably have their own proprietary OS.
They've got their own Linux distribution with Skippy and all the other AIs I've heard about in passing.
Just to minimize the risk of security hazards that would work on other operating systems, I have to imagine they have their own OS.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking, too.
September 30th, 2019. I am Dr. A. Delapore. The computer from which I write is registered under my name, and the password used to log into it comes from the last conversation I had with my son before he drowned. Nobody else knows how my son died. All I've ever told them is that he passed before I began working with the Foundation. Today was supposed to be the day I returned from a leave of absence that I did not schedule. I followed the same path I always have to reach containment area for my assigned anomaly, but I found it empty. There were no records of it ever having been occupied, despite the fact that I was working there just last week. As I think back on my actions during the day, I realize I cannot recall the faces of anyone I passed by or spoke to. I only remember seeing colored lights hovering in my vision, obscuring their faces. It was as if I'd been staring into the sun moments before. As I think back to previous days, all conversations I remember having are shrouded by the same blindness. Why didn't I write that in my journals? It's quite hard to ignore. Is this new? I remember experiencing this previously, but at the same time, it feels unfamiliar.
I think his son is taking him over because he's seeing lights as if you were looking up at the sun, like you were drowning, and he keeps getting more in depth about his son's passing in each entry. I'm thinking maybe his son possessed him or some shit. I don't know. Something's going on.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
All right, Tan.
Get it? That's another water pun.
Well, with that, I will take back over.
Assuming direct control.
October 2nd, 2019.
I am Dr. Delapore now.
I am Dr. Delapore, but I did not write that previous
No,
sentence.
I'm Dr. Delapore.
Who the hell are you?
I'm
Dirty
Dr.
Dan.
Del Day away.
I am Dr. Delapore, but I did not write that previous entry. The information contained within is accurate, but I was not in my office at all on September 30th. The events described in the journal occurred yesterday, yet the document was last edited before any of it happened. Furthermore, there was a guard standing in front of my office, with whom I had to argue for several minutes in order to be allowed in. He did not seem to accept, for whatever reason, that I was Dr. Delapore, despite the fact that I am indeed Dr. Delapore. I have, however, discovered the reason behind the absence of the testing site for my anomaly. I am in the wrong Foundation site. It is puzzling indeed my office is located somewhere entirely different from where I work, but it is more puzzling that the location of my office and the location where I perform my tests are hours apart by car. How then do I remember writing entries in my journal mere minutes after performing tests? I know I did not move this computer, nor did I use a different one. I will have to investigate tomorrow. After all, I have testing scheduled, so I'll have to be at the proper site for it. October 7th, 2019. I am Delapore, though I have been stripped of the title of Doctor. I was arrested attempting to enter the site where my anomaly is contained. Remember there being no less than a month prior, even until the area stripped me off limits, and it has been for nearly a year and a half. Site 109, I'm told, collapsed into the ocean in April.
You bitch! You bitch! I said, is this related to your last one? And you were like, no, it's not. Just
I said it's not.
Donnell?
He's not from the last
I don't
one.
understand. No, I'm confused. This is Agi's first SCP. What are you talking about?
I told you, I'm not Agisuru.
This is DJ Katsas.
I'm just taking over for him.
The sad thing is Tanhoney no longer does the re-zero noise with me when I'm all alone. Ah, he's back!
That's the first time
Guy
I've ever done it.
The re-zero noise then immediately leads into the intro for Doctor Who.
Anomalous edited an entire episode for re-zero. Anomalous, do your version of the re-zero noise.
I've been kept in my office
anyway.
under guard, but they've graciously allowed me access to my personal computer, albeit only under strict supervision. Every word I type is overseen, but I cannot see the face of the person watching me. All I see is a hovering flame, blinding me from discerning any of his features. I don't believe he's even reacted to anything I write. I stood up. I walked around the office. I even left for a moment to grab coffee, and I did not announce my departure beforehand. The guard is gone. I don't know when he vanished, but the only thing in the place where he stood is the flame that had been obscuring his face. It almost seems to be beckoning me towards the window, urging me to leave. Perhaps I'll follow it. Clearly something is wrong here if this guard is so willing not to do his job.
Oh my God, I can't believe this guy fell for the old 5389 siren call.
Alpha.
Addendum 2, summary of incidents 5389B Alpha and 5389B Beta.
Funny, that's me and Darnell's nicknames.
Hey! Yes, but in reverse order!
Sorry.
Argue about which one is the Alpha and which one's the Beta. Clearly, I am the
Alpha.
Sigma male.
So true. You're the Agi male.
Even rarer than
Email
Sigma.
just dropped.
New male
To be
type.
fair,
This is the
I use
password
they
this
them
week.
pronouns.
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
No. I said I was a Sigma male. To be fair, I'm just saying it for the record.
Yes, I will now. I've locked that into my mind palace. Everyone, comment below
in my
what your
archive
male type
now.
is. Make one up. Don't use one of the existing
Yeah.
ones.
Are you a yogurt male?
I am. How did you know? But let's get into it. October 8th, 2019, an individual initially identified as Dr. Alfred Delapore, hereafter referred to as SCP-A, attempted entry into the restricted area surrounding 5389-B and was summarily detained.
That's Site 109.
Yeah. Despite the claims made in his journal, he had never attempted entry to the Ashby prior to this, nor was he ever previously detained by the Foundation. For murdering Snow...
Wasn't the thing with 5389 that they kept getting called to that site too?
Yeah, people really wanted to go into it.
Yes. Okay.
And
So this is like a sequel to 5389.
Olmsted, the main doctor of 5389, was he, as you said, he made a friendship with the 5389A creatures, which then led him into 5380 Site 109.
So this is like a sequel article.
Kind of, ish. It's open to interpretation. I'll get into that at the end.
I have interpreted it as a sequel. I say, making a Sigma male pose.
Furthermore, there
What's
is...
The
Sigma male
chat
pose look
assumer.
Furthermore, there exist no records of any guard having been posted outside of Dr. Delaporte's office. No security staff on site recall conversation or events similar to what was described in Delaporte's October 2nd or October 7th journal entries. Later that evening, Dash A was found deceased within his cell. Autopsy revealed a lethal quantity of the SCP in his system. Cause of death was ruled to be suicide. On the events of December 15th, 2019, Dash A's corpse was exhumed. Investigation found they were not Dr. Alfred Delaporte, but instead a D-class individual that had been on site during the collapse of Dash B. 5389-B.
5389B.
Okay, new theory. So, if I'm understanding, he was working on another anomaly, so he was taking the anterograde so he would be ready.
Theory.
But because he couldn't remember his future, in that time when he wasn't remembering, he was called in by 5389.
I've got a wackier theory.
All right.
I think when he's gotten his memories removed with this amnestic, somehow that's like his memories like soaked into the amnestic. So now people who take it are thinking they're him.
Well, that was my original, very first, guess, was it not?
You never said.
Something memetic where you take the medicine and you think you're him?
That's not memetic, though.
That's not memetics.
Okay, well, I had the concept. I'm sorry I used the wrong nerd word.
This guy. It's
Yeah,
just
gosh.
like visuals.
You're part of this nerd podcast.
Yeah, you're in episode 115 of Discovering SCP.
Oh,
you're a
you
nerd.
use memetic instead of a patho.
Well, I guess this is your final fucking
fictionality.
episode. I guess you just announced your fucking retirement.
Friendship
Oh, you didn't
between
use the word
Darnell
pataphysics.
Germain
That's
and
what it
Tanhoney
was
has
because it
reached-
was the fiction of his memory. Oh, you just don't get it. You don't know about GOI boot pants yet.
You're making.
The friendship between Darnell Germain and Tanhoney has reached a point where it can no longer be sustained, and as
Bring out
such,
the new
discovering
Darnell.
SCP will be ended.
Hey guys, I'm looking forward to getting into SCP.
The important
I
thing
gotta
was
consider
Hey
the
guys,
previous
what's up?
co-host.
Let's read some SCPs.
You're trying to fucking nickel and dime me here out of my correct guess.
Okay, post in the comments.
Oh, no, I'm trying to nickel and dime you out of
We're
your
doing
job.
auditions for the new Darnell. Post your your
know
selling
what?
points in the comments.
What's
Go
up,
ahead.
YouTube? I'm Darnell 2, the better Darnell. This one's spelled with 3 L's.
I don't want to record this episode anymore.
You're 40 minutes in, it's too fucking late. Pushes you onto the ground of the cafe.
Waitress, assist
The
me.
waitress is still dead from the last time we did this bit.
No!
There are
running
only
down my
waiters
face.
here now.
On December 15th, 2019, Dr. Alfred Delaporte was once again detained attempting to enter the secure perimeter around 5389-B. Following his detainment, Dr. Delaporte was found dead in a similar manner to Dash A. Autopsy revealed a lethal dose of the SCP in his system, cause of death ruled to be suicide. Investigations of personal belongings of Dr. Delaporte revealed that several journal entries had been written on his computer in the time between Dash A and Dr. Delaporte being detained at 5389-B's perimeter. Now we have further personal entries. Why don't I pass this back to you, Darnell?
All right.
Which Darnell?
Pushing all my...
Lead the classic.
I am Dr. Alfred Delaporte. This is my computer, but how it came to be in this strange office is beyond my knowledge. The password and account name are the same as I remember them being. I do not believe that anyone else knows these credentials, but clearly I am wrong. Though the previous entries describe details. What's interesting, too, is he's clearly getting moved around to different places, but he somehow has these same files, so are they, on the cloud somewhere?
Probably.
Okay.
We're
I
on the
thought there was
blockchain.
something more mysterious going on, because I thought it was a local text file, but I guess they're just on OneDrive.
They're on the blockchain.
Clearly I am wrong. Shut the fuck
I mean,
up.
who says Dr. Delaporte even realizes that they're on the cloud and isn't just like, wow, how did this file get to be on the computer because he's taken so many fucking amnestics?
I don't remember this. Yeah.
What happened to all my
He forgets that
VHS
iPhones
tapes?
exist.
Oh, man.
What is this
No.
strange device you hold in your hand and can speak into?
Though the previous entries describe details of my personal life and actions within the Foundation, it was not I who wrote them. I do not know where I have been the past year. I recall a containment breach at my Foundation site. I recall water rushing into the facility as alarm bells. So he was there! Alright, I'm done. I'm killing you now. As alarm bells
I didn't
sound,
tell you I was
Yeah.
telling the truth.
Just because he wasn't mentioned by name, that's not what I meant. He was there. I remember the creatures rushing in. Faceless, hairless hounds, four-legged beasts with an additional pair of twisted arms sprouting from their necks. Why did the one dude ever think they were cute? Four-legged
Because
beasts.
they do a funny little dance.
So true. I recall the way they bayed and cried as they dragged people into the rising waters, the horde rushing at us faster and more fearsome than any tidal wave. I'm curious, is this like a series you're building up of some sort? Or is this just like, ooh. I do not know how I came to be in this office. What's the name of the series?
We'll get to that at the end.
Okay. I do not know how I escaped Site-109. All I know is that something important to me had been contained there. I need to go back. Oh, I just realized something.
What's
His
that?
son drowned, and the whole water siren beckon call. I bet he thought his son was there. Oh no!
And his son's name, Ben.
Albert
His
Einstein.
and God damn it, I was gonna say, and that son was Albert Einstein.
I am Dr. Alfred Delapore. I have worked for the Foundation since the day my son was taken into their care. They deemed me the best person to study his anomalous properties, since only I am immune to their effects. He alters the memories of those who interact with him. Oh no. But he cannot alter mine since he's already such a prominent figure in them. Perhaps he is simply unwilling to alter my memories. Perhaps he already did alter them. To be honest, I am not certain. So he's not dead?
Let's find out.
Oh no, his son's dead. His son's mega dead.
I leave this entry as record of my existence. While I was the best suited to studying my son, I was not the only one who worked with him. In 2015, we had extracted... If I was a father, I would not let them take my son as like a fucking test subject. I would fight tooth and nail to protect my child. Are you
Well,
kidding me?
to be fair, he did go into working with them to keep watch over his son.
I would have just been like, I will fight you, and then I would have died valiantly like a martyr, epic style.
I
And then
just
they would have taken my
saw
son anyway.
I would have.
Doctor Strange 2 last night, so that's all my brain is full of thoughts of right now as you're saying this.
Oh, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's really
Perhaps
fucking
you
good.
wanna tell me what I'm saying?
Dr.
In 2015,
Strange,
we
welcome
extracted
to
a-
the Illuminati. This is SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile.
Oh, wait a minute.
Disgusting.
His son can alter memories. Do you think he put memories of his dad in the meds?
Maybe.
In 2015, we had extracted a compound from the secretions of another anomaly at the same site, SCP-5389-A. Initially, it was believed the functions similar to common psychedelic drugs, based, though over time we found that, when metabolized by certain enzymes found in the livers of SCP-5389-A, it would produce a substance known as AMN-980. The compound immunized individuals against memory-altering effects, though it did so by erasing affected memories. Oh no.
No, he needs
This was how individuals were able to work with me in my studies, as it negated my son's anomalous effects. I remember this all vividly, yet I cannot find any documentation concerning my son. His designations belong to an anomaly I do not recall ever existing. AMN 982 does not have any documentation. It is not mentioned among lists of current or retired
AMN
domestics.
982 does not have any. Not a 982. Just
Right. Sorry.
no.
Yes,
I'm
I
just
didn't
clarifying for people listening.
It is not mentioned among lists of current or retired amnestics. It is not listed among our documents or on assorted anomalous compounds, and the secretions of -A are never referred to within their documents. I know my memories to be true. Why am I the only one who recalls this?
So, fun fact, this is actually kind of a meta joke from me to myself. He's the only one who recalls this because this is actually something that I excised from 5389 that was in the original draft I wrote. That they secrete a toxic compound that is one of their main hunting tactics because they love to swim and they constantly secrete this toxic compound. So when they go swimming, it builds up in the water and just passively kills fish. And
Was
then they
he
eat
in the
them.
version of the draft that we read?
No, that was gone by the time you read the draft, actually.
Okay.
But
My
it's
son is-
just a joke about something that I cut from the document, basically. Because sometimes I
I
like
see.
to leave little jokes for myself to laugh at.
My son is calling to me. My son for whom I joined the Foundation, for whom I toiled endlessly to cure of his condition. Who I remember being pulled under the rising tide as Site-109 supports buckled. No, I knew it! Is calling my name. These lights in my vision, the ones that hide others from me, I finally have come to understand. They are here to guide me, to pull my focus away from other people, to keep the only face fresh in my memory, that of my son. My son is alive, but not for long. Site-109 has collapsed, so he must be trapped within it. I don't know how, but he's in there, clinging desperately to life. I hear his cries, I hear him splutter as he chokes on seawater. I know his time is growing short. I must go there, I must find him. I am Dr. Delapore, and my son is drowning in Site-109. So he's not dead.
Okay, so here's where I lift the veil, so to speak.
My eyes!
There are a few ways you can interpret this, and it is less.
So, well,
intentional
I'm guessing
than
one
this.
way is that the things are altering his memory, so he thinks his son's drowning, so he goes there. One is that his son is alive, right? And
Yeah,
that
so
he
one
is-
of them is that he's correct. His son is an anomaly, blah, 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 blah. And his son imprinted his memories onto the amnestic to try and get people to come rescue him. Another one is, and this is kind of the recurring theme with the series I was building up, that this is an effect of the thing that moved into Site-109, the thing that the 5389A monsters answer to.
Like they're like special daddy or god or whatever it was.
Yeah, it is an implied, like, Apollyon entity, basically. And
Those words mean nothing to me here in this
it's
house.
it's a god, basically. It is an
Okay.
infant demigod, or not
There
demigod,
we
an
go.
infant elder god, is kind of the idea that I had, and that it is growing from access, like unfettered access to anomalies in the sunken site, and they don't want to go in to the site because they know this thing's fucking dangerous, and they know it would be suicidal. So as long as this thing stays in the site, they just won't touch it.
That seems dangerous.
But as it grows and feeds, it creates more anomalies by, messing with the ones that it has access to. And that's the reason why I wanted to leave the explanation of that connection for the very end, because this is 6919, because the entity in question is referred to as 91919. And you'll notice that the first journal date is written on September 19th, 2019, 9/19/19.
Nice. I love it when authors do funky stuff with numbers. I love it when the numbers mean something. Numbers,
Yeah,
Mason. What do they mean?
I have...
Numbers, Agi.
In my sandbox, I literally have a guide for myself to their little... Because the 5389A creatures have a little language of clicks, like Morse code-like, that can be written as numbers. It's paired loud or soft clicks. So, 9 is a loud click and then a soft click. And, I have a whole document explaining the different way I can write that in numbers.
Nines and ones. I wonder if their relevance will be brought up in the future.
1 is a break, 8 is 2 loud clicks, blah, 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 stuff like that.
Very, very interesting.
And it's not something I plan on ever directly addressing. It's just I feel like if I have a sort of internal logic to the background of that sort of thing, that it just kind of makes it feel a little more fleshed out, even if it's never directly explained.
So I've given this an upvote. And then on a scale of shit, middle, good, I will give it a good. I feel like it can, as an article, stand on its own, but it really does best function if you had already read 5389.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Raymond's
my
links.
goal, is to have them all kind of stand on their own, but be enhanced by previous
Yeah.
understanding.
So that was kind of cool that we got to experience that enhancement. I'm wondering, do you already have any other articles about the series, or are you working on any more, etc.? Because I noticed this one was posted October 2021, so that was 8 months ago. No, longer than that. What the fuck?
There is one other that has a loose connection. 6918 is connected in that there's water and drowning. That's it.
This person got 2 numbers in a row. SCP Wet Dreams.
I couldn't think of a number to assign it, and I just looked and I saw, oh, that one's open. Okay, I'll take it.
I would have just done, because you said the whole thing is 91919, I would have made it 191, because then it's in the
that's
middle of
taken.
that. Oh, fuck. Well, I would simply delete that article and then post mine instead.
Actually, 6919, when I was going to post it, someone cold posted into this slot right as I was about to post. I was just like, fuck! And I just sat there seething and watching that article get downvoted into oblivion for 24 hours, and then I immediately swooped that in on the number.
Completely normal SCP author behavior.
Yeah.
Delete it now!
No, my number. Okay, this article sucks. It's fine. Not to diss whoever wrote that article. Not to shit on that guy.
You low-key just kind of shit on that guy. But
I did. I'm sorry. Everyone has
his
everyone
inferior
has their first.
article didn't have a number. Didn't have... I think my favorite is we have a video on how to write an SCP, and one of the most common ones we get is the biggest problem is finding a number. Which ones are still available? As if numbers aren't an infinitely spanning thing.
Running out.
How do I find a number? Well, step 1, you go to Series 7, and you look for a number that says access denied, and
Yeah,
then you take it. And if you have a date in your article, change it to line up with that number so that there's some kind of justification for it.
And I might be mentally insane, but I'm pretty sure Tan said something like that in the video, but people are still like, what numbers are even available?
I'm pretty sure. I went over in great detail in that video.
Yeah,
Also,
so funny.
in literally the first thing under 4 new users, when it says how to write an SCP, it does say that exact process.
Shaking my head. Now, I will say this, gentle people. We are at 50 minutes, so how short is the second article?
I would say it's a bit too long for us to do in our...
We shall do the YouTube comment reading. Would you care to stick with us for the YouTube comment reading?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And by the way, before we do the YouTube comment reading, I'm going to do a plug. Go read 5389, because even though I don't remember a super lot from it, I remember really liking it.
It's long, I'll say that.
It is long. It took up like all of WriterBot, I remember.
It did. I still feel bad about that. I
You
was the
shouldn't
star
feel
of
bad,
that
'cause it
WriterBot
was-
because
it
I
was-
was the only one that was read.
No, you deserved it, though. That was a really good article.
I had been working on it for like a year at that point because it was my first SCP.
Oh my god, that was your first? Bangers
Yeah,
out the door?
Yeah, that was... Well, there was one idea I had before then that I reworked into the one that I literally just posted the other day.
Can't believe you were posting bangers out the door. That's crazy.
That
Don't
was
ask
also
me
the
about
first
my
time I
first
wrote
SCP.
anything horror-themed in my life.
Yeah, so I would like to clarify, I just opened YouTube to look up the episode, and the first video that popped up is called Don't Even Ask, and it's a 9-second clip, and the thumbnail's like Sonic covered in cum. So, just thought...
Yeah, that's what my article is about. I don't see the problem here.
Well,
Discover-
Sonic covered in cum is very anomalous. Just kidding, it's completely normal.
Okay, I wish I had mentioned it now.
who is this person?
Oh, the internet.
And comment reading.
Let's see if these
Okay.
losers have anything good to say this time.
Probably not.
No, let's cut that bit.
I think
We
my
have a comment
favorite bit
here
for this
from,
episode
Sonic
is
Covered in Cum
Grigory. Grigory was out in the comments, like, replying to a good number of them. So I'm not going to read those because it will take too long, but shout out to Grigory for interacting with the fans.
Now, if you
Because we
watch
don't.
this episode, go into the comments and comment the password "nice vid." Doesn't matter if you actually have anything to say. Just say "nice vid."
Nice bit, please. That's
It
about
boosts it boosts this in the algorithm.
Put that right next to whatever type of male you are.
There's so many requirements to comment on this fucking video.
I'm a nice vid male.
Anomalous, put all the requirements on the screen so the audience doesn't forget. It's only those.
Also, here's another requirement: make sure to include what number SCP you are.
Anomalous, kill one of the hostages.
Anomalous, show me this guy's balls.
you hear like the Counter-Strike, take him down. Anyway, Lucas Ferretti says, to give some perspective, what happened to Site 19 is about 2,700 words long. Frankenstein is about 4,100 words long. This sounds like a fucking Hamiltoe bit. Or Hamilton,
Actually, it's
the
what
musical.
happened to Site 13.
The Catcher in the Rye is about 7,300 words long. 6,500 is about 9,500 words long. How do you write like you're running out of time? Okay.
And then the
That's
longest
no joke.
piece of literature ever written is a
Subspace
Sup-
Emissary fanfic.
Super Smash Bros. Fan fiction that is 3.5 million words long.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
And
I think I
still
had a
being
long-running
updated.
series that was like 300 or 400k words. I will never see the light of
I
day.
wonder if you compiled all of the SCPs that like DJ Cactus or IHP have written, how long
Probably
that
a
would be.
lot.
I wonder
Probably
if
a
it
lot
would
of
get
words.
even close to 3.5 mil.
Tan did a while back too, like an arc or two ago. I had to measure all the words of Aetheral Space. I think it was almost 500,000. So by now it's probably like over 500,000, right?
Probably.
And then if you add
That's
the
a stupid amount
SCPs
of
on,
words.
he's written onto that.
He's probably got at least 1 million, 2 million words.
Yeah.
You ever think about that, Tan? How many
Especially
words you leave
considering
behind
the
in
like
world?
4 SCPs he wrote in the past 2 days.
Think about all the words you've ever spoken and all the words you've ever written, and think about that impact you've had on the world. So many words.
Exactly.
Now think about how many of those words mattered.
More than yours.
At some point, Tanhoney is going to single-handedly redefine the English language.
So
Once
true.
I've achieved perfection.
Once he has taken over the world. Once Tanhoney
You let
Towers
me
have
write too many
expanded.
SCPs. I'm about to begin the awakening.
I am now the SCP.
He's doing like the femto, like screeching as he enters his new form. Shythalia says, Grigory, do you see the small vent in the floor? Have you ever heard of Among Us, Grigory? You need to vent.
Among Us!
I know it'll be hard for you to be sus, but I know you can do it, Grigory. You wouldn't be the imposter, would you, Agi?
I already told you I'm not the person you were supposed to bring on. How much more obvious do I have to say?
sus.
I am an imposter.
Emergency meeting. In the comments, vote for who the imposter is.
It's Darnell! Darnell is sus!
No, I'm not. I was literally in medbay. Tanhoney
We
saw me,
literally
right,
already
Tanhoney?
established that we're replacing you. I'm sorry, you're getting voted out.
Good Day says, Victim presents, leaking the names of the next guest with your host, Darnell Blank, blank. Ooh, I do not like that joke. Okay.
Please explain the joke.
He wrote
He
wrote
doesn't
like
like
a
it
fake
because he doesn't know who
address.
the next guest is
He
going
wrote
to
like
be.
a fake address, but it was like at first it was posted my real one that I was open.
Oh,
Good day, Docs is Darnell.
just
Crazy
power
kids,
move.
check
Just
it out.
post the author's
Might have to
IP address
have
and personal
Tanhoney
information in the
delete.
comments. Don't do that.
Ironically, delete that comment because now I'm scared.
Interesting article.
Orchid Stream
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, I know where you live, and I am inside your walls.
Orchid Stream says, "Oh, so that's what Vikander need is." Why Vikander needed that? I should have made that joke last. Did I make that joke last episode?
Hey, I have a question and this can be cut out from the actual.
no, let's boost the volume on this bit.
Actually, I just figured out the answer to my question. I was going to say, hey, was the last episode that you recorded even posted already? And then I realized you're reading the YouTube comments.
Yes.
And unless you can go back to normal.
It was posted yesterday.
I wasn't
And
sure
almost-
if you had like a backlog of them.
No, we do this by the seat of our pants.
An anomalous writer says, "Finally, just realized how victim is said, and it's genius." Comedy Man Kelp says, Kilimanjaro and the Duke is crazy. I can't believe they just straight up wrote Tan and Darnell into an SCP article with zero changes whatsoever.
And the
This
Duke.
is the most like mask-off attempt to get someone to read an article I've ever seen. It's like, wow, it's just like you guys.
We wrote,
Shame you haven't
Darnell
read it.
is a seller. He doesn't even remember we read that one in the episode. Hence why he said this in the comment.
I was gonna say, I think he's saying that
I would
'cause
like
he read
to
that
say,
one.
hey guys, I never thought I'd have to do one of these. Comedy Man Kelp, I'm sorry for roasting you and assuming you were trying to get us to read an article when in fact you were making a comment about something we read last week that I had already forgotten.
I mean, I think, wait, hold on, I have to look up.
Anomalous, edit in a dog for me to pet verbally.
And almost
So people
makes
know that I'm
edit in some
sympathetic.
dog growling sounds to indicate it's about to bite Darnell.
I think, our reading of SCP-6728 was pretty good, honestly. I don't know.
Reading a what? What did we read?
That was a joke about me doing the thing that you just accused Comedy Man Kelp of. But I botched the
He's spiraling. Darnell's losing it.
Quaker button nose one. I'm thrown off since the good day comment. Now my day is
It's
a bad
okay.
day.
You've just been taking, the amnestic that we just described. Soon you'll be Dr.
Quaker,
Delapore.
wow, I'm Dr. Albert Delapore. Not Alfred, but Albert. Quaker
It's-
button nose.
You're Dr. Alaska Delapore. Get it right.
So true. Dr. Sarah Palin Delapore. Quaker button nose 128 says, trying to get Grigory to give victim lore is like trying to get Tanhoney and Darnell to read an article suggested in the comments. So true.
It's like trying to get Tanhoney and Darnell to read Kilimanjaro and the Duke.
They've been requesting it for years.
When will you read Kilimanjaro and the Duke? What do you mean you already did?
Cereal spitting meme. That's what we need. That should be the next emote. Is we need like a me doing the cereal spit, like from Rage Comics. Hamiltoe create at my will in command.
These guys will never be discovering SCP. Is discovering SCP.
Cute sweet Corgo says, your wife dead, your dog dead, your son dead. Wow, that fits this video too.
It's just like
do you
Gustavo Fring.
Damn.
That's just the SCP
We are
wiki
not
in a
the same.
nutshell. Everyone is dead. Everyone you love is dead.
You vague post on Twitter. I just shit my pants. We are not the same.
You vague post on Twitter. I have all of my loved ones dead. We are not the same.
Your doctor has a dead family member. My doctor also has a dead family member. We are exactly the same.
We are the same. We have both been taking AMN 980.
So true. I'll give you all my powers, baby. Just say a world, says Cute Sweet Cornmeal.
Say a world. Can
Wari
you not
says-
spell?
Hey!
What?
You leave Forgor alone.
Think we have Forgor special treatment?
Yes, I don my white knight gear. So valiantly.
It's on my dark knight gear.
You don't have the expansion that includes Dark
Vote
Knight
in the
yet?
comments
I
who you
can't
think
yet,
will win
okay.
the night battle.
Oh wait,
Okay,
no,
that
sorry.
reminds
Dark
me-
Knight is included in the free trial up to level 60, including
There-
award-winning expansion Heavensward.
There's a game I wanted to try with you, Tan. It's called Rounds. You're like these little circle people with guns, and every time someone dies, they get a new power. So like you keep the game gets progressively more. Never mind. We'll talk about it later.
I was
I
trying to
didn't
like
think you were
figure out
talking-
if that was a bit or not.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
think you were
alright.
talking about a video game for a second.
That was just my ADHD. My ADHD was in like full activation.
I thought
Wari Fernandez-
you were doing a bit where you describe how you're going to kill Tanhoney yet again.
No, I'm just trying to read a comment, but I keep getting distracted.
I'm not helping.
Guari says, I knew it. Grigory is a great author, and more people should read his stuff. So is Agi. Go read their stuff.
Yeah.
His and Harry's articles have been a great source of inspiration for my own creative writing, so I'm
Right.
very thankful towards them. Today, I have one recommendation. SCP-5935, Blood in the Breaking of My Heart. I've
That's a
only
good-ass title.
recently read it. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
That's a good title.
It is good. I've only recently read it. Sounds like a 2005 emo song.
I was gonna say it sounds like something John Green would write.
Hell yeah. I've only
The Fault
recently
in Our
read
Stars,
it.
dude.
Oh, never mind. I thought that was just assumed that was some emo artist for some reason. I've only
Kind of.
recently read
He's
it.
the favorite of Tumblr scene culture.
Guare, I am now only going to read your comment and ignore all other things in this world. I've only recently read it, and it is without a doubt my favorite thing ever posted on the wiki, and one of the best pieces of media I've consumed, period. Honestly, it's a crime that you haven't read it yet. Alright, I got through it. Thank you, Guare, for your comment.
Thank you,
And then
Guare.
lastly, from JTKC. Yo, it's my favorite podcast, Discovering Simply Creative People, with guests Gregory Kaplan and host Manhoney and Dornail. I actually knew about Greg from the new Resurrection series and SCP-6500. Excellent stuff.
Oh, I love Doorknob. He's my favorite Discovering SCP author. Wait,
I've always been more of a Manhoney fan, personally. That's
Manhoney.
new male,
More like
new male type Manhoney male.
There's gonna be like anti-DSCP was like they made it woke. Why is there now woman honey?
Darnell. Would you say that you are a fan, Honey?
I'm not a fan.
Well, that's all my time. I have to leave now. Goodbye.
Bye.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, bye.
That's a joke.
Wait, before. Oh, okay, good. Because I was about to ask, do you want to
I
plug
was
anything?
just about to
before
press
you
a
leave?
shot.
No. When I make an especially bad pun, I just go like, well, I have to leave now. Bye.
You almost destroyed the entire episode. We were about to end the track. The sky. All right, but yes, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I stream on Twitch sometimes.
Drop your Twitch. What's your Twitch link? Speak it verbally. The entire
Twitch-
URL.
https://www.twitch.tv/InsideOtterside. It is not SCP content. I just
And it's
stream on
spelled
Twitch
correctly,
sometimes.
right? There's no like variations inside, outer side.
Yeah, it's just.
I have noticed. I
just
just
fun.
realized you're like you're the big like water writer. There's all this water theme, and there's the funny like water SCPs, and you do have an otter as your profile, and that does seem.
I
to
just
be...
think otters are really cute.
Did otters at all have anything to do with designing SCP-5389-A?
No. The inspiration for 5389 was the idea of some eldritch entity lurking in the deep ocean.
Oh, but what about the dogs? What inspired the cute dog arm guys?
Oh, I think I think I linked this before. I took a dog and made it real fucked up, but it was specifically dogmeme.avi on YouTube. Because I mentioned they do the funny little dance.
You like dogs? Check this out. Links
Yeah.
smiledog.jpg.
Dogmeme.avi is dogs doing a funny little dance.
I'll look that up right after.
I made you watch it on WriterBot.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
I already forgot. You have to understand, I have no memory of anything in this world.
That's okay. You can experience it again for the first time.
All right. Well,
a treasure I could never have.
Oh. All right. Well, I think with that, we will call it here. Thank you for coming on, Agi. Sorry for the incomprehensibility, but we appreciate having you on. Everyone, go check out Agi's Twitch. Go check out their other articles, and go check Out of the Hospital. You can go home now. You're done.
It's
here.
over.
You're free.
You're free. You can check out of the Tanhoney Tower roller coaster
Dr.
comes to a
Tanhoney
stop,
will not
and
see
you're
you
finally
anymore.
allowed out.
This was fun.
I've actually decided that now every viewer in the lore is a resident of Tanhoney Towers that has been trapped in the amusement park.
You get out. You've finally been released
It's
from
no
Tanhoney
longer
Towers.
amusing.
You head to the exit. Your hands are shaking as you open it. The doors swing open. Earth has been annihilated in a nuclear war. You fall to your knees as a dead wind blows over your neck. It's all over.
I'm sorry,
approach
as you're
you
saying
from-
this, my mental image is like one of those Mickey Mouse costumes, except it's Tanhoney's avatar. Just like this giant, smiling, fucked up Yoko Taro looking guy. Just like standing there weeping in the apocalypse.
I approach the audience and say, "It's okay. You can rest in here a while longer."
You are
Don't
slowly
want another
dragged
ride on
back
the roller
into Tanhoney
coaster?
Towers.
You can rest here in line for It's a Small World.
Oh no! All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye!